Hey everybody, it's Dr. Mark. How you doing? I am so thrilled to be talking about one of my favorite subjects today, which is the mitochondria. Now, what the heck is that? That we're going to talk all about it, but essentially it's the secret of healthy aging, feeling great, having energy, and solving so many chronic diseases. And I'm just so excited to get somebody on the Instagram Live named Dr. Singh, who we are have join us right now, and we're going to talk about really the future of medicine, the future of aging, the future of longevity and health. Welcome, Dr. Singh. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Mark?
Good. Great to see you.
Yes, same here.
Where
Pleasure
are
to meet
you?
you.
Are you in Europe?
Yeah, we're based out of Switzerland, just by Lake Geneva in a small city called Lausanne.
Okay, I'm old enough to just be still awed at the fact that you're in Switzerland, I'm in Massachusetts, and
Uh,
we can just have this chit chat. I mean, when I went to Europe when I was 17, I actually had a Euro pass, $700, and called my parents once, collect for 3 minutes, and send postcards. That was it.
yeah. Well,
So,
times are changing. COVID has made connectivity so much easier now, right?
okay, well, someone from Morocco's joining. Thank you. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you today because we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is mitochondria, longevity,
Sure.
aging, energy, and the secret to life, really. Because if you don't have healthy mitochondria, you're going to go downhill. And we're going to talk all about what mitochondria are, why they're important, what we're going to do about it, and what your work is, and why it's so important to understand in the context of healthy aging. And it sort of blends this beautiful sort of paradigm of functional medicine, food as medicine, and rejuvenation, which I'm all about. Now, Dr. Singh, I'm just going to give a little bit of background about you for the people listening. He's a physician scientist and he's a chief medical officer at Amazentis, which is a very cool company we're going to talk about. He's a key member of the team, and he's an incredible background, both designing and leading clinical development and research in translational research, meaning getting research from the lab and the bench to the clinic. He worked on innovative consumer health projects, and he's also was the global medical director at Nestle and Nestle Health Science, which, you know, Nestle's got a bad rap, but they're coming around. I just had dinner with a friend of mine last night who's sold his company Nestle Blue Bottle Coffee, and he's now working with the CEO on sustainability and initiatives around getting GMOs out of their food supply line. So there's a lot of really good things happening over there. And you were there for a while and did a lot of R&D. And you've also authored so many different publications. I could go on and on about you, but tell us briefly, Dr. Singh, why did you switch from being a doctor doing, internal medicine, allergy, immunology,
hmm
to research?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mark, for the background. So I started my career as an internal medicine physician and then moved to train, as you said, in allergy and asthma. And I was really seeing the spectrum of the end of where people were symptomatic and coming with different symptomatology. And so what made me switch was I realized that doctors were not really focusing, medical doctors were not focusing on understanding the disease process earlier on when you could actually make a difference. And so I
What?
trained in, yeah. So I realized I needed to do research, and I started doing. I was lucky enough to be mentored. I moved over to the U.S. and I was trained by fantastic professors. I trained in University of Connecticut, and my professor told me, my friend, there's no part-time research. You do research or you don't do research. So I then got the research bug, and I tried to, I was involved with some discoveries around novel immune cells, and I realized the scientists, they wanted to move from one cool thing to another one. And so I realized there was a gray zone between scientists and doctors, to take the discoveries all the way through clinical studies into, make difference in people's lives. And that's where my passion is into translational medicine.
And that's what you're doing now, which is really great. So I would say Amazentis is a company that's bringing the science of food as medicine and phytochemicals into clinical practice in a way that's incredibly research-based. And it sort of impressed me because there's a lot of hype about this superfood, that superfood, this and all that. And a lot of times the hard work of the research isn't behind it. And it's really what impressed me about Amazentis. It's a serious biotech company, but the biotech isn't some newfangled technology. It's the old-fashioned fruit of Mother Nature that bears incredible healing gifts that we're going to talk about. So
Yeah.
let's get into it. Mitochondria. What are they? They essentially are these little factories in your cells, or the engine in your cells that takes food and water that you eat and drink. Food and oxygen that you eat and breathe, and turns it into energy that your body uses for everything. And out comes, hydrogen, H2O, which is water that you pee out, and carbon dioxide you breathe out, and there's waste products. But essentially, this little factory is critical for every known function of your body. And for brain function, for energy, it's for how you get your energy, for heart, muscle function. And what happens as we age, they break down, they don't work as well, and it affects our youthfulness, our energy. When you see a 2-year-old kid running around like crazy, it's because their mitochondria are just jacked up. Mm-hmm. And when you see a 92-year-old basically kind of walking like this, it's because their mitochondria are just kind of worn out and sluggish. And what's really quite amazing is that a lot of the research on aging has focused on the mitochondria as one of the key elements to optimizing health and longevity as we age. And so this work, when we lose cellular energy, is so important, and how to fix it. And that's really what I want you to talk a little bit about, is what is the role of the mitochondria in aging and disease? Just give us sort of a brief understanding.
So I always say that the three sort of key pillars of aging. So there was a landmark paper about a decade ago that described 9 key hallmarks of aging, as we age. And one of the key pillars was mitochondrial dysfunction. And so energetically active organs like the skeletal muscle, which is by far the most consumes the most energy and generates the most energy, so it has by default the highest number of mitochondria. And then the brain and the heart, these are organs that are very energetically, metabolically active. And so as we age, sort of these mitochondria, they cannot regenerate and make properly the currency of energy, which is ATP basically. And so what happens is you start feeling in real life problems in dailies of activity, so if you were to exercise, recovery takes longer, you feel fatigued a bit longer. We did a study actually a few years back comparing 70-year-olds who were exercising on a sort of practicing for half marathons all their life versus 70-year-olds who were sort of sedentary lifestyle. And we took sort of muscle biopsies from these people. And what was really remarkable was that mitochondrial health was sort of the key pillar that was responsible for the muscle decline with aging. And that fascinated us. That's how we ended up on this road to finding a MitoPure.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm on a serious quest personally to rev up my mitochondria as best I can. I'm always finding new hacks and new strategies. And sometimes it's just the basic stuff, right? It's not eating a lot of sugar and crap, processed food, not eating huge amounts of food, which stresses your mitochondria.
It's really cellular health, right? So diet is key, exercise is key, but there's a third pillar that goes so underappreciated, and that's really providing the right cellular nutrients to maintain good mitochondrial health.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors that go into mitochondrial health, things like CoQ10, NAD, NAC, lipoic acid. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, that B vitamins. But what's really important in terms of the work you're doing is an area that I'm so excited about, as you all know, which is food as medicine. And it's not in the abstract sense, but in the very specific sense of how these mechanisms work. And within food, there are 25,000 different phytochemicals, maybe more, who knows. And these chemicals are called phytonutrients, and then there's polyphenols, there's all kinds of compounds. And they interact with our biology to create health or disease. And one of the things that's so key about mitochondria is they depend on the breakdown products of certain things in our diet to function well. And this is the discovery of Homozygous, which is that there's a compound in pomegranate that when it's actually metabolized by your gut microbiome, if you have the right microbiome, it can then do something that activates your mitochondria, helps with muscle synthesis and mitophagy, which we'll talk about, which is literally the recycling and rebuilding of mitochondria. And so tell us how this compound that gets broken down by your gut bacteria called urolithin A, which is sort of naturally happening when you eat certain foods like lactotannins and pomegranate, helps improve mitochondria, but it only works in about 30-40% of people. So explain that whole story a little bit for
So at Amazindus, we've been researching on this molecule for the last 10, 12 years. We initially started taking a deep dive into the pomegranate. And as you mentioned, the polyphenols, pomegranates are very rich in polyphenols called lactotannins. So if you were to take a glass of juice, which is 100% juice, and you were to give it to 100 people, which is a clinical study we actually just did and published, you would only find about 40% people will have let's say, the right gut microbiome to generate what I call as meaningful levels of urolithin A. And the microbiome is fascinating. We've started looking at the microbiome. One of the key aspects of people who are naturally blessed, as I call them, to make urolithin A is they are rich in certain gut microbiome species like Necromancy. So they have a higher expression of Necromancy in the gut. Now, this molecule is fascinating because we started with worms. So we've taken it from the bench in the lab to humans, and now to actually, putting it on the breakfast table of thousands of people around the world. And what is fascinating is that it acts on a very conserved anti-aging pathway called mitophagy, which is basically a cellular recycling pathway. Now, as we age, this cellular recycling pathway, which is basically taking dysfunctional mitochondria and recycling them to give birth to near healthy mitochondria, slows down. And so what MitoPure does is basically it revs up the mitophagy pathway, clearing up this cellular garbage, so we all have healthier new mitochondria.
So MitoPure is the
So it's a MitoPure. Yes, MitoPure is the product, and it's basically a patentable proprietary form of a molecule called urolithin A, which is the gut microbiome metabolite that is in this product.
Yeah, it's so key. So, you can eat pomegranate. You probably need a lot of it, and
I can drink 6 glasses of juice, and I know because we have developed some tests as well. My body will never make urolithin A, so I really need to short circuit it by taking MitoPure.
And maybe we need to get our Necromancy up too, which is a whole other topic. And I just wrote a blog on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's ways to. But essentially, Necromancy is such a critical molecule. It helps in blood sugar regulation, autoimmune disease, cancer, cardiovascular disease. It's quite remarkable. And there's ways to fertilize. In fact, it loves pomegranate. That's the thing. It actually feeds on pomegranate. So that's one way to get it to grow. But the MitoPure, which by the way, I actually love this stuff. I use it. This is the packet. It comes in a packet of powder, and I put it in my shake. Every time I work out, I basically put it in my smoothie afterwards, and it's super easy. And I've been doing it for, gosh, maybe a year now. And I've just noticed a huge difference in my energy level and my muscle strength. And I would love you to sort of share a little bit about the research, because as I looked at the data on this, this isn't just, we think this works. There's a lot of hard science on the ways in which it increases muscle mass and muscle and mitochondrial function, which is an essential muscle function, and the way in which it actually helps to induce something called mitophagy, which I'd like you to talk a little bit about.
Sure.
It's like mitophagy, which is why people do time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting, but essentially the mitochondria have also a recycling and cleanup process, and urolithin A really helps with that.
Yeah, so we started and we published this in big journals like Nature Medicine and Nature Metabolism. So we started with worms.
Those who don't know, those are like the top medical journals.
Yeah, exactly. So we started with worms, which is the standard aging model, and you do what is called as lifespan experiments or lifespan extension experiments. And what we saw with MitoPure was about sort of a 45% increase in the lifespan of these worms who live much longer. And then we went to sort of preclinical models of aging and muscle health, and we saw that old animals that were given this compound, they were highly endurant, and they were running about 57% further. And then we have translated that to a number of clinical trials that I have personally designed and led over a number of years. We've now given it to about 350 participants, done 200 muscle biopsies to figure out really what's going on in human muscle. And it turns out it statistically improves compared to, these are all placebo-controlled double-blind trials. It increases muscle strength, and it improves resistance to fatigue, meaning that there's more endurance. So there's a term I use called bioenergetics. So what it means is basically the muscle has more energy to last longer, and that's really what we have been doing in terms of now we're actually running a trial in elite Olympians, runners in Australia in the Australian Institute of Sport with Professor Burke there, and really the goal is to see in different populations where also we've seen an effect on strength and endurance in elderly and middle-aged, sort of a healthy aging population, and now we want to see if it improves recovery in even elite athletes where you would expect their endurance is pretty much peaked out.
Yeah. So everybody, we're talking about something called MitoPure. People are asking. It's from Timeline Nutrition. and it comes in little packets. It's a little kind of reddish powder, like from pomegranate, essentially, that you can just put in your shake.
Yeah, we have several products. So one, yeah.
MITOPURE, MitoPure, for those who don't know how to spell it. Okay, so what you're saying is quite fascinating, because what you're talking about is multiple layers of action, right? So increasing muscle mass, which is, loss of muscle is the signature feature of aging, and drives all the metabolic dysfunction of aging: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, inflammation, low growth hormone, high cortisol, low testosterone. I mean, it just screws you up when you lose muscle. And it's really the characteristic of aging that people really don't talk about that's so important. And what you're talking about is a strategy to enhance muscle size, essentially muscle mass, and muscle function, and endurance, and performance, and energy, and all the things that we all want, especially as we age. We have a term in medicine called the dwindles, right? The dwindles is like when people just kind of like fade out, and that's not inevitable. And I can tell you personally, I'm not bragging or anything, but I'm just saying I've been sort of hacking my own biology using these approaches, and I test everything on myself before I give it to my patients. And I've been really committed this year to, during COVID, and I had a back surgery, and really strengthening my body and getting fit. And I've been using MitoPure the whole year, and I can tell you, it's pretty impressive. I feel so strong. I have lots of energy. My workouts are great. And I think, I have a lot of friends who are younger, in their 30s and 40s, and we go out biking or we do workouts. They can't keep up. I'm 61, so how old are you? I'm 61. But people just can't keep up. And I'm like, well, I don't understand this. Like, what's wrong with them? I don't know if it's the MitoPure or just me training hard, but I think the whole point I'm saying is that at any time you can reclaim your health, at any time you can reverse the process of aging, at any time you can enhance your mitochondrial function. And this, along with other mitochondrial strategies, is really important. And I've written a lot about it. So it's such an important idea. I want to talk about a few things. One is, people think, oh, pomegranate sugar is going to be sugar. Is there sugar in this compared to pomegranate juice, or what's the deal?
No. So our top two selling products, one is what you showed here, the berry product. It has no added sugar. It has about 1 gram of natural sugar through, of course, the flavoring and the berry flavoring. And then our second product is a soft gel, sort of a pill that you can take, and that one has no sugar. So compared to pomegranate juice, a bottle, an 8-ounce bottle, will give you about 16 grams of sugar, so 16 times higher.
How many pills equals packet?
Good question. So that's the study that just we published, and so we compared 1 glass of juice versus this particular product there, and we gave it to 100 participants in the U.S. And what you would in half of juice if you have the right gut microbiome to make enough.
The pills, the pills versus the packet.
Oh, the pills are very, they are like 8 ovals, so they are like this size, small. So you take 2 of them, easy to swallow. They're soft gel. So yeah, it's fairly convenient to take those pills.
So 2, I don't know if I'm doing it right. So 2 equals 1.
Yeah, packet. 2 pills will equal to one of.
You can mix it in anything, right? You can.
Yeah, this product goes well with shakes. It goes well with mueslis, or your breakfast yogurt, high protein yogurt. So yeah, and it really fits your lifestyle.
Listen, guys, I don't really really endorse like this a lot of products, but to me, that there's very few companies that I see out there that are doing the hard science, and these guys have spent 10 years of hard research.
So this is the soft gel, and to your question. On the pill size, one pill is like I don't know if you see it, but
yeah. So I think I've looked at a lot of stuff, and I don't endorse stuff a lot, but I do think this is a really important advance in our understanding of healthy aging and muscle function, muscle health, and energy and energetics. And I'd encourage you to read sort of more about my stuff on mitochondria. You can just sort of go to my website, Dr. Hyman, and go mitochondria. You'll find a lot of stuff on there. But it's so important. And also, the story here is so beautiful because it links up food as medicine, the microbiome, mitochondria, and functional medicine, and it's just beautiful. So Can people get this anywhere? Is it available all over the world, or people are asking? You know.
For now, only in the U.S. We have to do a very thorough battery of tests to show the FDA to get what is called as a GRAS designation, so generally regarded as safe. So that's the safety barrier we need to clear. And in the U.S., the FDA cleared it, so we launched it in the U.S. in the different product formats I mentioned. The others in Europe and Australia and around the world, the approval process is going on. But for the time we can ship, it can be shipped also from U.S. to internationally, I believe.
Great. So, and what's the website to get it?
The website is timelinenutrition.com, and if you want to learn more about MitoPure, there's a whole website dedicated to sort of a knowledge called mitopure.com.
That's great. And you know, we and on the for our listeners, what we've done is kind of created a discount for you guys as well. So if you go to timelinenutrition.com/Dr. Hyman, just Dr. Hyman, timelinenutrition.com/Dr. Hyman, you'll get a 10% discount. And just use the code Dr. Hyman 10. And it's all going to be in the comment, in the caption underneath the Instagram live here. So I really am so excited for the work you're doing, Dr. Singh, and I hope you're having a good time in Switzerland, and Europe's opening back up. We'll hear certainly more about what you're doing. And have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Mark.